just among some of them, although, of course, in Utah, they just said you can't do it.
The United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the ape, the young man who has become a legend of his own time. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
And if you can't handle the truth, then just don't watch this show. What's up, everybody? Ron Kelly, The Ron Kelly Show, broadcasting live 3 p.m. East, 7 p.m. West, or is it 4 p.m. West, 7 p.m. East, right here on our YouTube channel and across Facebook Live as well. So welcome, everybody. I got a great show lined up for you. Thank you, everybody, for joining me last week where we had a great show. My brother, Malik Carey, the show In My Father's Shoes. I forgot to turn the TV off. In my father's shoes. Maybe in a second break. In My Father's Shoes. We had a great show last week. Thank you so much, Malik Carey, for coming on and doing our thing. So today we have, without further ado, we have the mayor of Hillside, New Jersey, Dahlia Vertreese. Welcome, Mayor Vertreese.
Hi, Ron. Thank you so much for having me on today. And I must say, Malik Carey is one of my favorite people. He does really good. Really
don't say that too loud because his head expands when he hears stuff like that. Okay, everybody. So thank you so much for joining me. Mayor Dahlia Vertreese is here, as promised, at Hillside, New Jersey. For the folks who listen across the country, there are a lot of people out west and in the Midwest, surprisingly enough, who do partake of the Ron Kelly Show every Thursday night at 7 p.m., mostly on the radio.
My in-laws are in the Midwest.
Shout
out to Missouri.
Chicago and Kansas City and St. Louis, a couple other places. Des Moines, Iowa, where they do watch the Ron Kelly Show, and I get emails from them. Not angry ones. I get some pretty good ones. Okay, everybody. So thank you, everybody, for joining me. Don't forget, this week, I believe you'll be able to watch the Ron Kelly Show on Facebook Live, as well as our YouTube channel. And I implore you guys to subscribe to the Ron Kelly Show on YouTube. It doesn't cost anything, and we would welcome you. It doesn't cost anything, and I know how nobody wants to spend any money, so just subscribe to the Ron Kelly Show on YouTube. Something's going on with my video. But anyway, everybody, Mayor Dahlia Vertreese is here. I got a lot of questions to ask you. Something's going on with my video behind the scenes. Something's going on with my video. I'm not sure what it is. Okay, it looks better now. All right. Okay. All right. Fine. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks so much for waiting for me to come back, because we were doing a lot of work behind the scenes. My team at Creative Blitz, handling their business, and we've got things all together now. So I look forward to some great shows we got lined up. As a matter of fact, next week, Kyle Butler, the man the Christians love to hate, will be here next Thursday. Kyle Butler will be here. I'm sure we're going to have a very interesting conversation at that time. Okay, so I was watching the news, and wow. I was watching the news, Mayor Vertreese, and I was watching what happened after the school board meeting in Williamson County in Tennessee, where they voted to make the kids wear masks. And the people they were threatening. It was just so unbelievable that folks were threatening other folks. We know where you are. We're going to find you. I'm like, really? Over a mask? And it was just so just crazy. And because I watch the news a lot, not a lot surprises me anymore. But I'm like, wow, really? So what do you so what's going on in Hillside in regards to the COVID-19 vaccine? I don't believe that the kids have started school yet. So what's the plan in Hillside with the COVID-19?
So I think that we're going to follow the governor's mandate, where all of our children are going to wear masks. And I'm often just concerned about how they're going to do that for 6, 7, 8 days, what kind of breaks we'll get. Like any other parent, I have 2 kids that are under the age of 12, so they can't be vaccinated. So I'm very curious as to how we're going to manage, classrooms that are 20, 25 or more in the classroom, especially in our inner city schools. A plan has not been rolled out to the overall community as of yet, if we're going to be doing a hybrid for those kids that can't be vaccinated, or if everyone is going to be mandated to be in school all at the same time. It all just happens so fast. So I try not to put too much pressure on elected officials, because a lot of times we have to wait for what is legally allowed from our federal CDC as well as the state guidelines. And then we're often asked to be responsive. So yeah, it's right now, especially for young kids, I think that's where the majority of our concerns are, and how we're going to manage keeping them safe, especially with how contagious the Delta variant is.
Okay. All right. I just read the private chat message from behind the scenes. Yes, it is, and I'll address it. Okay. So you're the mayor of Hillside. Now, what's the population of Hillside, New Jersey?
So Hillside is about 23,000 people. It's a beautiful community of diversity, different ethnicities, languages. We have everything from Creole to Yoruba to Portuguese speakers. We have a nice Jewish population. So you name it, we have some of every ethnicity here. Our issue right now is getting people to be more attentive to voting, understanding how important their vote is, and having a voice. More people are starting to engage. Since day one of my mayorship, I've been trying to get more people communally involved. It's how I grew up. My father was a police officer. My mother was a nurse in Newark, New Jersey. And in both of their professions, they were organizers. And I grew up to be an organizer for a labor union. So I realize and am humbled by community and how much we need people and how much we need each other, regardless of your ethnicity, what language you speak, how much money you have. We are one Hillside, and we're 23,000 people. And if you go to the Newark airport, you have to come through Hillside.
Yes, you do, because Hillside is like sandwiched in between Newark and Union, I think it is.
Yeah. And our proximity is one of our greatest assets, because we're pretty much like 20 minutes away from everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's it's such a headache, being a mayor, and it doesn't matter the size of the town. It's such a headache because you got so many. And I'm like, why would anybody want to be mayor of any place? Because there's so much drama and everybody's pulling against each other. You got this council faction versus that council faction, and it's just so much drama. So like when did you come to the decision? I mean, what happened where you decided, because I know there had to be a decision made. So what happened when you decided that, you know what, this is crazy, but I'm gonna run for mayor of Hillside?
So it wasn't an easy decision, and I got into politics because my immediate boss is an assemblyman, and I had been exposed to some privileges that most people don't have. One of which was the labor candidate school, which is it's actually happening this weekend with the AFL-CIO. New Jersey, from what I remember, is the only. Well, I know it was the first, and when I went through, it was the only state that actually had what we call a labor candidate school, and they teach people who belong to labor unions how to run for office. And it's basically a boot camp over the weekend for teaching you what you do in office. Now, of course, that's study. Actually doing is a totally different animal. So they teach you how to run for office, but once you get in there, it's hands-on training. From the work that I did with the union, my husband then kind of latched on to what my boss was saying, which was Tom Giblin. And he was like, you do all this work for the unions, you help people, you're up and down the state, you talk to all of these folks, your own township is, falling around your ears, and you don't want to help, you don't want to participate, you don't want to be bothered because you have a great career and you're living your life. But how can you use your skills and talents to help your own community? And it was basically that kind of slap of consciousness that finally pushed me into running for mayor.
So you had to be pushed into it, right?
I mean, it's a lot of responsibility, right? Because it's 23,000 people that you are ultimately responsible for, regardless if they vote for you or not, regardless if they're nice, if they're mean, if they're litterers, if they're newly let out of prison. Those are your people. And you realize that it's no longer about you. It's really a selfless position. And it's humbling because you don't know everybody's walk of life. But as mayor, especially in a small town, it's amazing how much you're in people's lives if you allow yourself access to that. Like I said, I'm a very grassroots mayor, very accessible. So I've been invited to weddings in the backyard while I'm out campaigning. I've been invited to baby showers and birthday parties, funerals, you name it. It is also, it could be a headache, but it's also overwhelmingly humbling.
Yeah,
God is good.
I can imagine. I mean, I know I just heaped it on being a mayor. I mean, I just kind of blast off on being a mayor. But
there are good days though.
I'm sure you do. Just a couple of notes. Shout out to Ronald McCready. Good evening to you too, my brother, who I was in the 4th grade with actually, years and years ago.
Friends.
Yeah, he hit me to that. How'd you remember me? But shout out to Ronald McCready and shout out to Lenny Brooks, my good friend Lenny Brooks, who lost his son. It was very
tragic,
very traumatic, very tragic. Only 19 years old. He was at the starting gate for life, right. And cut short. So shout out to him and peace be upon his heart and peace be upon his son who is no longer here. Shout out.
He rest in love.
Yes. And my people and shout out to Steve Augustine, who, that's my dude right there, Steve Augustine. I don't know if he's watching, probably.
And he probably hates you for even mentioning his name. So
yeah. Because last time I saw him, he had like 6 phones to his head. Shout out to my good brother Steve Augustine. So all right, so you're a mayor now. That job is part-time. Now I don't understand how any mayor's job can be unless it's a one traffic light town where nothing really happens. I don't understand how. Oh, he is here. Okay, brother. He is here. I don't understand how, that can be a part-time job. I mean, when you're at work, because you work,
yes,
you have
a lot of people don't know that I have a full-time job.
Yeah, you have to live and eat and stuff, And so, do you get calls at work like, Mayor Vertreese, so it's just like this going on, or this happened, that happened? And do you ever have to leave work to go and address a situation in Hillside?
Yes. And I'm very grateful to my union, my brothers at the International Union of Operating Engineers for their patience. I always tell people all the time, I wouldn't even been in the political arena if it wasn't for my union. So their support of me and what I do for my community, it's all about working families. So they understand and they respect the work. But I'm in the middle of something and I have to leave my job, and the next thing you know, they're looking up and I'm on TV. So, but as long as I come back and I serve my members and the people that I represent as a labor relations specialist, they're happy as long as, and it's extra work sometimes. Sometimes the work folds into the weekend and you're constantly balancing the two. But they go hand in hand. You're a labor union, you work for families who are blue collar, people who want to send their kids to trade school and give them a better future. A lot of times what I do as mayor folds into what I do for my labor union and vice versa. So I've learned to be I've had a lot of skills given to me in both arenas, and definitely stronger than when I began.
Okay, so shout out to Albert Vega. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. People are, bigging me up here. Shout out to you, Albert Vega. DJ Tiny, who puts it down. I think he still does it on Wednesday nights on dymusicradio.com. So shout out to you, my good brother, and thank you for watching, partaking in the program. So you're a young lady, so you have like young kids.
Yes.
Right. And so you have to fix the boo-boo and then run to City Hall. If somebody scrapes a knee, you got to fix the knee. I mean, how do you, the transition, do you just flip the script from one thing to another? Like you go from being not that you stop being a mother to go be the mayor, but
right.
It must be a lot of juggling that's going on like behind the scenes. And I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of juggling going on behind the scenes.
And people in the community have seen me flip hats. 1 minute I'm giving a speech and I'm at the podium, and the next minute I'm like running off and chasing my kids, and then coming back to the podium, and it's like back to our regular programming. But I think that that's what my community appreciates about me, is that, I truly am a Hillsider. I have a family. It's a working family. I have 3 boys, gone through the public schools. I'm invested here. And I think that they see themselves in me, and they appreciate the fact that I'm a wife and a mother. And I think that we need more people in politics that are in the grind right now. It was one of the reasons I ran in the first place, because I didn't see a whole lot of people that represented me in government. A lot of people are really, older, and their kids are my age and not really their responsibility anymore. But yet those older people are telling me what the needs of my family are, or they're young and they haven't really embarked upon the pressures of family and what it takes to raise kids, especially in this new virtual situation. In some avenues, you really can't relate. And I think that voice, that diversity and inclusion, it really does also include working mothers, and women of color, and people who are single moms, and the LGBTQ community that has children. And there's so many different voices that have been on the margins for so long. And I think that it's time for more people to start speaking their truth, so that we can get policies that represent, working families all over the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And people do, and you're right that people do, or people can rather identify with you, because a lot of folks have kids, and they have kids your age, so that kind of personalizes you as you're not just a politician. They see you as a mother, as a working mother. And I met Mr. Vertreese at the fundraiser. You see, so I'm sure that his help, his support has been like just tantamount to what you're doing. Right.
Yes, it is. I have an amazing husband. We've been together longer than we've been apart now. We met 19 and 20 in college. So he is my best friend, and is actually in the background telling me what to do and what to fixing the computer, and just making sure that I hit, the right points. And some of the things that I always say and what we talk about, we kind of decompress every night about our day. And we wake up fresh the next day to do it all.
So he's not standing to your left right there trying to...
He left the room because he knows that I would keep looking like, okay, what do I do? Stop it. Stop it. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Well, that's good, though. It's important to have, the family. Yeah, the family support. Yeah, that's very important. So you're running for re-election.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I think it's time for me to take a break. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the lady who's running against you, who I have to invite to the show. So we'll see if she shows up.
Okay.
Because the equal time thing, we still have to do that. So I may have to bring her on. So willingly, not begrudgingly, reluctantly. Yeah, I don't want, if she's watching, which she probably is, I don't want her to think that I don't want her to come on. So we'll take a quick break. Come right back with more. It's the Ron Kelly Show, everybody. And it's on streaming across all social media platforms, and it's on blogtalkradio.com. And we are back in this portion of the this portion of the Ron Kelly Show is brought to you by Amica and Porterfield Transportation. Since 1980, Amica and Porterfield Incorporated has serviced hundreds of thousands of customers, including children, and thousands of including children, handicapped, elderly, and visual. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. The phone number for Amica and Porterfield is 888-753-6423. That's 888-753-6423. All right, we are back. We have the mayor of Hillside, New Jersey, with 23,000 folks. Dahlia Vertreese is here as promised. Next week, we'll have Kyle Butler, the self-styled motivational motivator, and he'll be here on the Ron Kelly Show next week on the 19th, I believe that it is. And In Vogue is in Broadway, and I'm sitting up here on the radio. In Vogue is in Broadway, right? Well, probably not the original In Vogue.
No, not original.
There's probably a few people missing. But In Vogue is in Broadway. Tonight, it's 7 p.m. It started just when I started, so maybe I can dash down there real quick and get a peep. But anyway, we're here with Hillside Mayor Dahlia Vertreese is here, everybody, and everybody, just to let you know, you're listening to the Ron Kelly Show. Okay, so all right, so the election is when? November
2nd.
November 2nd. Okay, so you'll be running against what's the lady's? I don't even know the lady's name.
Nancy Mandela.
Nancy Mo. Okay, all right. So how's it going? How's the campaign going? Because you're campaigning now, right? Even though it's only.
Yes. Well, I like to say I've never stopped campaigning. I've been doing a lot of work to build my base, getting people to know who I am. I don't hide behind just party lines and ask someone to sell who I am, because that's how narratives are created about candidates. I think it's very, very important that people know who their mayor is, or really any elected official. So I like to say I've never stopped campaigning, and just really being transparent and opening myself up to my neighbors and making sure that they have access to me to ask me any questions and give me the opportunity to be responsive to their needs.
Okay, so all right, so this is November, so we got a couple months left to meet, but you're going to get into the real grind in, probably in several weeks.
The real grind has begun.
Real grind, right?
Yes.
So how's the fundraising going? How's the community support?
The fundraising is awesome. Still have a lot to go. Always need money. People fail to realize that a campaign is a small business. And I think that that's where a lot of disconnect is, especially with Black and Brown communities. Not realizing that if we don't invest in the people that we want to represent our township, then someone else will. And those investments won't necessarily be the ones that are best fit for the community. And so just being cognizant of who people are getting their money from, why those people are investing in certain candidates, those are the questions that we really need to be asking going forward for people who are asking for our vote. When we talk about those small dollar donations, yes, I've been working very hard for my small dollar donations. People from all over the country, $25 here, $50 there. All of that goes towards helping the campaign, which also helps young people who need jobs. It helps people who are in the social media industry. It helps people who paint and will help you do your campaign headquarters, the skilled labor that you need. All of that stuff goes into the campaign. So it's actually still giving back to the community. So regardless of who you support, if you decide to volunteer, all of those things are still investments into your community.
So what's the biggest issue in Hillside right now, for folks who are not familiar with that town? What's the biggest issue right now?
So I think there is a combination of things. The vaccine, trying to encourage more people, particularly where English is a language barrier, getting access to those individuals to the vaccine. I also, and then just making sure that they're properly informed and educated on the vaccine. I think also, like a lot of other towns in New Jersey, it's the increase in violence and public safety issues. Um, Everywhere has seen the gun violence increase. Hillside is not by itself. It's not like we have, there are some places that are way worse than Hillside, but the recent shootings in Hillside is something that we are not used to. We don't typically have shootings or people stealing cars and stuff. And this is something after COVID has definitely become a problem for us. But we are working on a plan to address those issues. But again, we are right in the middle of 4 other municipalities. And so naturally, there are things that come through and sometimes even stop. I think that the job loss kind of added to some of those issues, as well as even before the pandemic, we had a large homeless population that was dropped into New Jersey by our neighboring state. And that brought a lot of people into our population that we didn't know about, we weren't expecting, we were grappling to find social programming for families that were here. And then you had COVID hit and some people got lost. And so these are all of the things that we're going to have to repair going forward. But if I had to name 2, it would be making sure that people are vaccinated, they wear their masks. And then, of course, the increase in crime, which is something that is happening all over the state. But we still have to do our part in Hillside to make sure that we're, again, addressing the needs of the neighbors so that we can make sure that we have a quality standard of life here.
Yeah, because there's a little bit of a spillover because you can leave Irvington and go right into Hillside. So, and people will probably be running from the police and let's go through Hillside. So I'm sure that you probably get a lot of maybe not homegrown activity, but some spillover from other towns like Newark and Irvington. And,
and then it's just
shout out to Tony Bowers and Ross Baraka. I don't want to kick their back. Say shout out to
no. I don't do the otherness, and I can't say that Hillside is that we don't have some homegrown issues, because we need jobs. We lost a lot of jobs, and there are people who don't have some of the skills and talents necessary to get the jobs that are available. And so, I think we have a lot of work to do, especially coming out of this pandemic, because we all know that some restaurants and small businesses that would have otherwise hired some people, they're not coming back. And these are those hard things that everybody's going to have to grapple with. And
that's going to be, that's got to be, a really big problem in a town like yours with the pandemic, and a lot of the places aren't coming back. A lot of the restaurants and maybe gyms or whatever.
And then the mental health issues.
Yeah, they're not right. They're not coming back. And then you have the mental health issues. People were just, it was rough last year. I tried to go outside when I could, but it was rough. It was almost like a Netflix movie where you couldn't even really go out and enjoy the things that we've enjoyed for years. This is America. We're used to being able to go where we want to go and do what we want to do. So it was really, really hard.
And it was, I want to say it was Raz Baraka. He recently gave a speech, and I felt alone, like as a mayor during COVID, and you didn't realize all the problems, all the issues, and you still had to get up every day and face it. And you still had to talk to that person that had lost, 6 members of their family, and you still had to deal with the loss of food and people that couldn't buy diapers and senior diapers, and you had to figure out where those resources were going to come from. Um, it was a lot, and you had like this feeling of isolation because in so many ways it is just you and everybody's looking to you, and you don't have a lot of outlets as the mayor, because when you show any kind of vulnerability, people, they want to attack you on it. Oh, look at this person, you're a weak mayor because you shed a tear because you lost someone that you saw on your block every day. And it's like a little bit of PTSD from COVID, because you still had to do things that other people didn't have to do. As
Well,
mayors and elected officials, we still had to go out there, and it was scary.
well, you're a black woman mayor.
Mhm. Get out!
And
Stop!
yes,
Don't love me like you do.
you're an African American woman mayor. I'm pretty sure the pot shots be taking pot shots at you because of that alone. It has nothing to do with your job performance or anything like that. You're a black woman and mayor of a town in the state of New Jersey. So how do you handle, when people try to throw shade on you? Maybe at a council meeting or wherever you might be, people try to heap a little shade on you. How do you handle that?
I focus on the positive people in my community, and I've gotten more positivity and encouragement from, like I said, the people who know me, than the people who have everything to say about you. And the people who criticize you and they try to tear you down, they're doing less than you. You look at their record, you look at what they've done. The people who are going to, criticize you the worst are the ones that wish they could do what you're doing. And so they want to minimize what you're doing. They want to minimize the positivity, right? Because hate is dramatic, right? It's why we watch reality TV. You want to see people fighting each other and throwing each other off the tables. And we think that's leadership, and it's not. Leadership is still maintaining your peace despite what people have to say to you, and then just focusing on the people who support you. And there were events in town. There were events that we held that would not have been successful if my neighbors and friends didn't come to do the concessions, to set up their booths, to do the music. The things wouldn't have happened without them coming together and just wanting and fighting for what they wanted to see in their community. And I'm extraordinarily grateful for that.
Reality TV is kind of fun to watch somebody get thrown off. But it is kind of fun to watch that, though. But I think that that you're doing, having to juggle family and job, and we all know family comes first, and family comes before anything. But I'm pretty sure it's very difficult for you to handle. To flip hats, take this hat off, put that hat on, and I've seen you like on Facebook and stuff like that. You're like really out there. You are like, I'm like, wow, she's like Energizer Bunny. She is out there doing what she needs to do. And the mayor, what was the little town? There's a town in Westview,
Westfield.
Yeah, like one of the whitest towns in America. And I don't want to make this about race, but Westfield is a very white town, and the mayor of Westfield was I believe at your fundraiser.
Yes.
So right. So that I believe that was a testament to your, to your appeal as a mayor. Speak to that for me.
Again,
how important was that she came and supported you?
I'm sorry.
How important was that she came? What did that mean to you that she came and supported you?
Extraordinarily important. And my moniker throughout the administration was building connections for our future together, right? And that has to transcend race. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of racism. Like, I'm tired of people using, color or gender as a because at the end of it doesn't impact you. Where's the work? Like, who are the people who are like-minded, who want to continue to see their communities and their neighbors just happy. I want to see my people just smiling, and my people consist of everyone in Hillside and Shelly Brindle and Colleen Marr and Angie Devaney, all of my white sisters in politics. Like, we have some of those same struggles with family, with sexism, with racism, people saying you shouldn't be this person's friend because they're Jewish or they're not Jewish. It's so corny. Like, we've been playing this fiddle for like 400 years and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not productive. It's stupid. And it's really a figment of our imagination. Race really doesn't exist. It's a social fact. And it exists because we say it does. And it's just a way to, tell people why some people are more deserving than others. And I think that the ability as mayors to be able to come together and to align ourselves with some of our goals. And don't get me wrong, I am a Black woman. I'm a proud Black woman. There is no convenience.
That's right. That's right.
I also have to make sure that it's not the only thing that defines me. And the only way you do that is being open to dialogue and showing other people that it's okay and that there are people who may not have grown up with you, may not be in your same class structure, but will be able to empathize with you and create these opportunities to where you'll be at the table. Because the majority of the people that I work with don't look like me. The majority of the people that I work with don't have my same class bracket. But that doesn't mean we still can't work together and that my voice doesn't matter, right? You have to be at the table. And
a lot of them are older than you. So.
And they're much older than me. But you have to come in, right? If somebody gives you an opportunity to walk through the door, you can't say, oh, nobody looks like me. I feel uncomfortable because no one looks like me. At the end of the day, you're just going to be, if you go in with that mindset, you're just going to keep repeating the same stuff over and over again. You're not going to grow. So that's why it's very important for people to see others from different walks of life, not even from Westfield, but from Newark, or people who are recently getting out of prison. Everybody has something to teach you.
Right. You can't, the person might be laying on the sidewalk, might have a pearl of wisdom that they could drop on you. Just because they're laying on the sidewalk doesn't mean that they don't have an experience that can help you.
Listen, and good things come from toxic people too. Like, you can be in the room with a toxic person and still meet 2 or 3 other great people.
Okay, shout out to Julianne. Shout out to Julianne Cherry.
Hi, Julianne.
Hi, Julianne. She must be a friend of the mayor's because I don't know.
Yes, that's my sorority sister. It's 85 Data Sorority Incorporated.
Yeah. And come back now. Come back to next week. Now, don't just come for the mayor now. Come on back. Shout out to DP, Steph, Lenny, all my people over at Fume Cigar Lounge. If I didn't mention you, I apologize. George, all the guys who I hang out with when I partake of my daily cigar at Fume Cigar Lounge in Montclair, New Jersey. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm really, I've been looking forward to interviewing you. Okay, she says she'll be back. All right, thank you, Mary Dawkins. Thank you. Maybe I ought to keep you for a few minutes. Maybe I'll keep you through the break because they have some Hillsiders. Is that what they call them, Hillsiders? Hillsiders who are participating in the Ron Kelly show. So thank you, Mayor Dahlia Vertreese, everybody, the mayor of the great township of Hillside, New Jersey. Now, so the election is November the 2nd.
Yes.
It's going to be cold then, too.
I know. But you got vote by mail and there's early voting. So people have options.
Yeah, that's right. See, it's a good thing that, and I've been trying to impart on people, Mayor Vertreese, that, this thing, just because these things are taking place in Texas and some of the other places where we don't live, it doesn't mean that, those people over there are going to be injured by the rollback of the Voting Rights Act, with you can't vote on Sundays. If you give somebody a bottle of water, you can get locked up giving somebody online a bottle of water. Mm-hmm. So New Jersey will never be a Republican state. We can probably, at least not in our lifetimes.
I don't know. We flip-flop quite a bit.
Wow, Jack Citarelli is not going to be the governor.
No, he's
I
not.
just said, I'm saying it. Yeah, I say it. You want to get mad at me? Go ahead, but no, because he's already talking about these crazy harebrained schemes like
Yes.
DeSantis in Florida, and Greg Abbott is just totally. He's been sitting in that chair too long. Forgive me for saying that, but just off the meter with this. And I want to know what your thoughts on that before we move on. Your thoughts on the rollback of the Voting Rights Act. All of these crazy psychopaths who call themselves now. The presidential election was over last year, and they're still doing audits. It's just the craziest. The January 6th it's just the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. What are your thoughts on that?
It's the craziest waste of money. But I do see in the chat that we got to go get paid, Ron. So we got to get a word in from our sponsors. Okay, and then I'll answer that question.
Oh, did somebody say that? Oh,
yes.
Okay. Please take it back. Okay. All right. How did you see that? Anyway, all right. Take a quick break. Come back.
I got your back, Ron. I got your back.
That my sister. Okay, we'll take a quick break. Come right back with more. Everybody, it's the Ron Kelly Show, broadcasting all across the social media spectrum and on blogtalkradio.com. All right, everybody. In this, I saw Mr. Vertreese over there. This, I saw you. And this, this portion of the Ron Kelly Show, everybody, is brought to you by Amica and Porterfield. Since 1980, Amica and Porterfield has serviced hundreds of thousands of customers, including children, handicapped, elderly, and individuals. Their reputation is built on hard work, integrity, and professionalism. Requests for their services and their list of satisfied clients keeps growing and growing. They are continuing to expand to keep up with demand, whether your students or groups are of elementary or high school age, public, private, or parochial school, college students, or private groups and organizations, whether student or adult. They're fully trained drivers and staff, as well as a variety of their fleet, ensures safe transportation to and from any destination. For more information, contact Amica and Porterfield Incorporated at 888-753-6423. That's 888-753-6423. Or you can email them amica.porterfield@verizon.net. That's amica.porterfield@verizon.net. And anybody else wants to advertise on the Ron Kelly Show, then yes, it's going to cost you something. So no, mention my stuff. No, we don't do that anymore. So you have to pay. So you can reach out to me, rkellytalk@AOL.com. That's rkellytalk@AOL.com if you're interested in advertising. Right chair. We used to say chair, right? We used to say chair back in the day. Chair. Right chair, not here, chair on the Ron Kelly Show. All right, just a couple more questions for Hillside Mayor Dahlia Vertreese, and I got to do a little bit of rant before we go off.
So real quick, in response to your rollback of the voting rights. So number one, I think it's very important for people to understand government. We took civic education, financial literacy, all of that stuff. We're just now putting some of it back into the classroom, but it's been absent for a long time. And even Black history, we here in New Jersey, we had something called the Amistad legislation, which was presented by Bill Payne, Assemblyman Bill Payne. And it basically, for every piece of history that we teach, our curriculum is supposed to entwine Black people, basically the version of history from the people who we say, quote unquote, lost, but we didn't lose because we added to a lot of our gains and our successes. It's just that it's kind of been wiped out of our history. And then you see what almost happened in Arkansas, where they tried to wipe Black history out and the 1619 Project all together, banning it from their curriculum. And so I think it's very important for all people to know the different contributions of all people in this country, and also learning their government and how we've always, even though our government hasn't necessarily included all folks that have been participants in government, we still have been here and we've still been doing the work. And I think that our kids need to be exposed to that. That's number one, learning your government, understanding that in every municipality, there's a different form of government. There are different ways in which each government does things, ordinances, legislations. It's all different in every town. And people need to understand how their local government runs. The other thing is understanding how much money it takes to throw out these frivolous lawsuits. And that is what we pay for the lack of understanding our government and how it works. I also am disappointed at how many people just don't vote. You know, there's a lot of people, they have no reason why they don't vote. And they just say, oh, I just don't want to vote. And you ask them, well, why? Why don't you want to vote? I just don't think it matters to me. And so it's one of those dangerous things that doesn't matter until it matters. When we are replacing all of our lions for lambs and then we lack leadership, it's because people didn't come out and vote. And you didn't vote by being an informed voter for the people who represent your best interests. And then that's hard to do when you have a bunch of people who don't want anything. You ask people, what do you want? What do you want to see? And they don't have an answer. It's very frustrating.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man. But I think it's so annoying. I mean, because, you know, I mean, I'm not, you know what? The situation, right? Just because, you know, there's always going to be drop boxes. We're always going to have, you know, there's never going to be a time in New Jersey, for example, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, in the New York metropolitan area, where they're going to take back the drop boxes, where you have to request the ballot, like some states, some of the Republican states, some of the conservative states, I should say, are doing now, where, you know, like now you just get a ballot. I mean, I don't even really be thinking about it. I go in the mailbox, oh, there's a ballot here. Sometimes I'm not even aware that there was an election. Mm-hmm. So even though we're never going to have that here, we still have to speak up for the people in Texas. We got to speak up for the Black folks in Texas. We got to speak up for the Black folks in Arizona and Georgia and some of these other places where it's just straight up, we don't want Black folks to vote. Basically, that's it. You know, and a lot of white people watch this show, so and they know what I'm talking about. They just don't want us to vote because we got, I mean, the miracle of all miracles, 2 Democratic senators being voted in Georgia of all places. Mm-hmm. And then even with Trump getting 76 million people to vote for him, Biden got even more. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we should care about, just because that's never going to happen here, as far as I can see, we still have to care about those other folks.
Oh, you're so optimistic. You use that word never.
Yeah, never. No,
I don't use it.
We Christie was the last one. That's going to be it. Now I know
Donald Trump was president, and you know, that just changed. That was a game changer for me.
You know
so
what?
I was just like, anything is possible.
Yeah, no, I'm still, you know, I'm going to hold on to hope. Mary Dawkins says my mayor. Okay. So I'm pretty sure that you and a lot of other, not just Black women, but women, you know, all across the country were really excited about us having the first woman vice president.
Yes.
And Kamala Harris. And I'm like, I mean, I'm glad that she made it. It's history making that she's now the vice president of the United States, and God forbid anything happens to Biden, she's going to be the president. I mean, she's not going to have to wait 2 weeks like the Lieutenant Governor Hockley in New York. She's going to be the president right then and there. Mm-hmm. So how confident are you in her, you know, in her abilities if she was to become the president of the United States?
I'm very confident in her abilities. I was confident of her abilities when she was a prosecutor, when she was working on the local level. I mean, she's gotten to this place through her competency. I don't think she would have been successful. Even people would say, "Oh, you voted for Obama because he was black." Okay, well, there were other black people that ran for president and they didn't get the black vote. So it has to be a whole package. Like, yes, Kamala Harris, she's competent, she's smart. She has a lot of things going for her. She has a lot of experience, and she made a lot of mistakes, just like everybody else, things that we didn't necessarily agree with. She's not perfect, but do I think that she could take over as the president of the United States? Absolutely, because nobody in leadership is doing it by themselves. The smartest thing that you can do in leadership is surround yourself with other competent people, with people who have your back, who will support you, make sure that you're not going down the wrong path so that you can make the best decisions possible, given the facts and information that's before you. So yeah, I think she's confident if she got the opportunity. But at the end of the day, I'm not wishing the death of President Biden.
Oh, not at all. No, I hope nobody thought that. But the man is 78 years old, so that's something
but
that we have to take into consideration. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully,
he also has some of the best healthcare in America. So
yeah, I'm sure he does. He'll be 82 by the time the next election comes around. So we may have if he decides to run again, we'll have
I know, but we need more young people to run for office.
Yeah, well, she's only in her.
We got to build the bench.
Yeah, she's in her mid-50s, so I think she'll be around for a while. And if President Biden decides not to run, then she's probably going to be the Democratic nominee. All right, so the election is tomorrow. Let's just say, what would you say really quick to the people? Let's say the whole Hillside was watching this, and the election is tomorrow. What would you say to those folks?
Just remember what I've done from day one. There is a State of the Township that's on YouTube. I've walked the township through what I found. I have measurables for the platform that I presented when I first ran. I've met everything except my re-entry program. I really wanted to build and create more opportunities for our family members that are being released from prison. But I have been working on that even earlier this year. I think COVID kind of stabbed a lot of my plans in the middle. But for the most part, what I ran for, I've achieved the majority of it. And I'm asking for permission to continue to do the work. I'm running with a great team. We call ourselves Building a Better Hillside because the foundation has been laid. I do want to build a spray park and pool, as well as a brand new library, which will be a 21st century community center. We'll give opportunities to small businesses that don't have the luxury of brick and mortar, and really give people an opportunity to come together, to have community events like lecture series, and have visitors and movie nights and talent shows. I really want us to come together to do great things together. So like I said, building connections for our future together, continuing to build those relationships outside of Hillside, bringing more development, economic development and businesses here to take the tax burden off our property owners. And that's my vision for the township. I'm trying to be the mayor that I wanted to see in a mayor.
There you go. She's Mayor Dahlia Vertreese. She's the mayor of Hillside, New Jersey, everybody. So I want to thank you. Thank you, Mayor Vertreese. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on. I had fun.
Thanks for coming on to the Ron Kelly Show. Wait. Can she discuss? Oh, that happens everywhere. Shima Austin wants to know. That happens. There's porch pirates everywhere. Not in Montclair, but there's a lot of there's porch pirates everywhere, Shima. You just have to send your stuff to the locker. You know what I mean? She wanted to know before we go off the air. She wanted to know why packages are being stolen and no one seems to care. That's what she wanted to know. But that I can answer that. That happens everywhere. That happens everywhere. Not in my business, but it does happen everywhere.
And I also think that, people care from the administrative's perspective, but we aren't everywhere all the time. And I think that this is the importance of people knowing their neighbors. Because I ring bells and I'm like, oh, do you know this person or do you know that person? And they don't even know the neighbor to their left or to their right. Or if you see somebody stealing a package, they might not say anything. Not saying that that's the end all be all and that will end package thefts. But I do think that when people take advantage when they think that nobody is either watching or no one's going to say or do anything if they're taking packages off their porches. So I think we do something when we can as a police, but I think that community effort and knowing that people are watching and that neighbors have each other's backs, that will alleviate some of those issues.
Yeah, 'cause that kind of stuff happens everywhere.
It
That's
really does.
I
And
mean,
it's sad.
Beverly Hills, they steal packages off the porch. You know, some of the even Westfield, they probably steal packages off the porch.
And they better start being careful because, you know, some of our people are like, yeah, we're going to put tracking devices and stuff in some of those packages. And people going to mess around and get hemmed up. They keep playing around stealing folks' packages.
Yeah, and I think that people, you know, it's a shame that, you know, in a lot of the Black communities, our people are really just afraid to say, you know, you see something, say something. A lot of our folks are just afraid, and rightfully so. I mean, you know, I think that depending on who the perpetrators are, people have a reason to be afraid. So we have to find a better system. See, because I think part of the problem is that you have the right to confront your accuser. So if you say you saw something, now you got to go to court and expose yourself. You know, so we have to find a better way for folks to in the criminal justice system. We have to find a better way for folks to provide you know, tell the police what they saw without fear of retribution or
and be nice to your neighbors, right? And not be afraid of your neighbors. In a general setting, if somebody needs to cut their grass, there's nothing wrong with saying like, hey, Mr. Wilson, like your grass is getting a little long. Do you need me to come cut it? 9 times out of 10, Mr. and Mrs. Wilson are like, oh no, baby, I got it. Thank you so much. But a lot of times we won't even have those common conversations with people because, oh, I don't want somebody to shoot me or whatever. Like you see me walking around Hillside all day, every day. And people are like, aren't you afraid? Like, where's your detail? And I'm like, I live here. These are my people. Why am I going to be afraid to walk around in my own town? And if
you don't have a detail?
Does happen to me, it could probably happen to me anywhere.
You don't have a detail? How many
cops
do you like to have?
No,
like
sir.
2 or 3 or whatever?
No, sir. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Okay. I probably have this anyway, so I can feel important. Anyway, everybody, Mayor Dahlia Vertreese, thank you so much for taking time out from what I'm sure is your busy schedule to stop in and talk to us here on the Ron Kelly Show. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And tell Steve, he's probably, I don't know if he's still, he's still around. Steve is still around. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Vertreese. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Jennifer Hahn. There's a lot of your peoples are here. A lot of your folks are here. Hope Smith, Shima Austin, who complained about the packages being stolen.
Yep. And I care, Shima. We're gonna fix
Julian
that.
and Terry. Yeah, you have a lot of support. And you know, I'm looking forward. I'll be talking to you. Your opposition, I'll reach out to her and hopefully she'll come. If she doesn't, well, okay. But I'll be reaching out to her.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Vertreese. Thank you. Say hello to the family for me.
All right.
All right, everybody. Do we still have? Okay. All right. Hey, listen. All right. About a couple of minutes left to the Ron Kelly Show. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, participating. Thank you to my sponsor, American Porterfield Transportation, located in Plainfield, New Jersey. Thank you to my people, all you guys who participated in Ron Kelly Show. This is a lot of hard work, and we did a lot of work behind the scenes, me and my team at Creative Blitz, to bring you a quality program, which it was before, but we really got it going on right now. So I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for joining me. Hey, look, listen, you know, the vaccine, you know, I thought just about a minute and some change left to the program. I thought we were on our way with the vaccine. And you know, I'm just so sick of seeing people say, oh, well, I'm waiting. Well, what are you waiting for? Waiting for what? You know what I'm saying? Well, what are you waiting for? To see how many people die from the, you know, it's just so ridiculous. I was on the fence, so I can kind of understand being on the fence, but you got to get off that fence. You know, we're going right back to 2020. We don't want to go back to 2020. I know I don't want to go back to 2020. We've got about 30 seconds left to the program. So anybody who's on the fence about this, I mean, we gotta get past the nonsense and the BS. I was watching in Tennessee, after the meeting, they were threatening people who were wearing masks. I mean, telling them we know where you are because they're wearing a mask. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. I think that people should I encourage anybody who's on the fence to get off the fence, and take the vaccine. A lot of people are dying. Hey, we don't know if it works. We don't know if it doesn't work. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much. I'll see you back here next week for another This is the Ron Kelly Show. So until then, I'd like to say it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And we may not have it all together, but together we can certainly have it all. Thank you so much. I'm out of here.